The stars looked different near Kepler 442b. Captain Jake Matthews stood on the bridge of the USS Meridian, watching the strange blue light that came from the planet's twin suns. His crew had been traveling for 6 months to reach this distant world. They hoped to find new resources, maybe even signs of life. "Captain, we're getting some weird readings," said Ben Torres from his station. Ben was the ship's tactical officer, a young man with sharp eyes and quick reflexes. "There are several large objects moving toward us from behind the fourth planet." Jake walked over to look at Ben's screen. The objects were big, much bigger than any ship humans had ever built. They moved in perfect formation, like a school of fish swimming through dark water. "How many?" Jake asked. 12 ships, sir. Maybe more coming from the other side of the system." Dr. Lisa Harper looked up from her language computer. She was the ship's expert on communication and had learned 15 different Earth languages. Her job was to talk to any aliens they might meet. "Captain, I'm picking up radio signals from those ships. It sounds like they're talking to each other. Can you understand what they're saying?" Lisa shook her head. "Not yet. The language is completely new. But I can tell they're organized. This isn't random chatter." Katie Wells, the ship's engineer, called out from her station. "Sir, those ships are using some kind of crystal technology. I've never seen energy patterns like this. Their power sources are way beyond anything we have." Jake felt his stomach tighten. First contact with aliens was supposed to be humanity's greatest moment. But these ships were clearly more advanced than the Meridian. If they were hostile, his crew would be in serious trouble. "Alex, what's our defense situation?" Jake asked. Security Chief Alex Stone was a tough woman who had served in 3 wars. She never looked worried, but Jake could see concern in her eyes now. "We have standard weapons, shields, and armor. But, Captain, if those ships want to fight, we're not going to win." The alien ships kept getting closer. Jake could see them clearly now on the main screen. They looked like giant crystals that had been carved into ship shapes. Light flowed through them in beautiful patterns. They were the most amazing things Jake had ever seen. "They're trying to talk to us," Lisa said suddenly. "I'm getting a direct communication signal." "Put it through the speakers." Strange sounds filled the bridge. The alien voices were like music mixed with the sound of wind through trees. The words went up and down in ways that human voices could not make. Lisa listened carefully, trying to find patterns. "I think they want us to stop moving," she said. "They keep repeating certain sounds when they look at our ship." Jake made a decision. "All stop. Let's show them we're peaceful." The Meridian slowed to a halt. The alien ships formed a circle around them. Jake could see figures moving inside the crystal ships. The aliens were tall and thin, with skin that seemed to glow with soft light. "Try to respond to them, Lisa. Use simple words and gestures." Lisa. ACTIVADED, the communication system. "Hello," she said slowly. "We are humans. We come in peace. We want to be friends." The response was immediate. The alien voices became louder and more excited. But Lisa could tell something was wrong. The aliens weren't talking to her like she was an intelligent person. They sounded like people talking about animals in a zoo. "Captain, I don't think they understand that we're intelligent," Lisa said quietly. "The way they're talking. It's like they think we're some kind of clever pets." One of the alien ships moved closer. A voice came through the communication system, speaking in broken human words. Small. "Creatures ... where? Masters?" Jake stepped forward. "We are the masters of our own ship. We are intelligent beings. Just like you." The alien voice made sounds that might have been laughter. "Beasts ... learn ... words. Funny beasts. Where? Real ... builders ... of ... metal. Nest? Lisa's face went pale. Captain, they think we're animals who somehow learned to copy our masters' voices. They don't believe we built our own ship. More alien voices joined the conversation. They spoke in their musical language, but Lisa could understand some of the meaning from their tone. They were fascinated by the talking animals, but were looking for the real, intelligent species that must have built the human ship. Creatures ... come ... with ... us. We study ... clever ... beasts. Find ... true masters. Alex Stone's hand moved to her weapon. Captain, they want to capture us. Jake looked at his crew. Katie was young and scared. Ben was angry and ready to fight. Lisa looked confused and hurt. Alex was calculating their chances of escape. They were good people, the best Earth had to offer. And these aliens saw them as nothing more than talking animals. Ben, can we outrun them? Not a chance, sir. They're faster, and there are too many. Of them, the lead alien ship sent another message. This time the voice was firmer, like a parent talking to a naughty child. Beasts, obey. Come ... now. No ... harm ... good. Animals. Jake had to make a choice. Fight and probably die, or surrender and hope they could convince the aliens that humans were intelligent. Neither option was good. Captain, Lisa said. Quietly, there's something strange about their language. Some of the sounds they make, they remind me of something. I can't remember what, but it's important. Before Jake could answer, the alien ships began moving closer. Beams of crystal light reached out toward the meridian. The ship shook as the alien technology took hold of them. They're pulling us in, Katie called out. I can't break free. Jake watched as his ship was dragged toward the largest alien vessel. His crew looked at him with trust and fear in their eyes. Somewhere out here among the stars, humanity had just met their first alien species. And those aliens thought humans were nothing more than clever beasts. The adventure was just beginning. The alien ship was like being inside a giant crystal cave. Jake and his crew walked through hallways that glowed with soft blue light. Their guards were tall beings with skin that looked like moving water and eyes that changed color when they looked at different things. The aliens wore no clothes, but their bodies were covered in beautiful patterns that seemed to shift and dance. Stay together, Jake whispered to his team. Don't do anything that might make them angry. The aliens led them to a large room filled with strange machines. Commander Vexthara stood in the center, studying the humans like a scientist looking at interesting bugs. She was taller than the other aliens, with silver patterns on her skin that sparkled when she moved. Fascinating creatures, Vexthara said in her musical voice. They walk upright like true beings, but their minds are simple. Watch how they group together for comfort, like herd animals. Lisa felt anger rise in her chest. She wanted to shout that humans were not animals, but she forced herself to stay calm. Getting angry would only make the aliens think they were right about humans being beasts. Commander, said one of the alien scientists, the creatures seemed to understand some words. Perhaps their masters taught them basic communication. Yes, Vexthara agreed. Very clever pets. But where are their true owners? The beings who built their metal ship must be nearby. Jake stepped forward. We built our ship ourselves. We are intelligent beings with our own civilization. Vexthara made the sound that was like laughter. Poor little beast. Someone taught you to make those sounds, but you do not understand what you are saying. Do not worry. We will take good care of you while we search for your masters. The aliens put the humans in a large room with soft floors and walls that showed pictures of peaceful landscapes. It was comfortable, but clearly designed as a cage for animals. Jake sat with his crew and tried to think of a way out. This is impossible. Ben said, How can they be so advanced, but so stupid at the same time? They're not stupid, Lisa said quietly. They're just absolutely certain that they're right. In their minds, intelligence looks like them. We're too different for them to accept that we might be smart too. Katie was working on a small device she had hidden in her pocket. I'm recording everything they say. Maybe we can find a pattern in their language that will help us communicate better. Alex looked around the room for ways to escape. These walls are tough, but I might be able to break through if we cause a distraction. Wait, Jake said. Let's not do anything violent yet. Lisa, you said their language reminded you of something. What was it? Lisa closed her eyes and listened to the alien voices coming from outside their room. It's hard to explain. Some of their words sound like they come from very old human languages. Languages that died out thousands of years ago. That's impossible, Ben said. How could aliens know dead human languages? I don't know, but I'm sure of what I'm hearing. 3 days passed. The aliens brought them food and water, but treated them like pets in a zoo. Scientists came to study them, poking and prodding while talking about human behavior, as if the crew couldn't understand. On the 4th day, something changed. A ship began moving toward a small moon near the edge of the star system. Jake could see it through a window in their room. The moon looked dead and empty, but the aliens seemed very interested in it. Why are we going there? Katie wondered out there. Answer came when Vexthara visited them with exciting news. We have found something wonderful on that moon. Ancient ruins left by the first ones, the great beings who came before all current life. Perhaps your masters are connected to these ancient ones. Lisa felt her heart beat faster. Ancient ruins might hold the key to understanding why alien language sounded familiar to her. The aliens let the humans come with them to the moon's surface, but only because they wanted to see how the clever animals would react to the ruins. Jake, Lisa, Ben, Katie, and Alex walked across the rocky ground toward a large structure built into a cliff face. The ruins were incredible. Tall stone columns covered with writing in many different languages reached up toward the dark sky. Jake had never seen anything so old and mysterious. Look at this, Lisa called out. She was standing in front of a wall, covered with symbols. I can read some of these words. The aliens became very excited. The beast recognizes the sacred writing, one scientist said. Perhaps their masters are indeed connected to the first ones. But Lisa wasn't listening to the aliens anymore. She was staring at the wall with wide eyes. Jake, this is impossible. Some of these symbols are ancient human writing. Egyptian, Sanskrit, old Chinese characters. But they're mixed with languages I've never seen before. Katie was using her scanner on the walls. Captain, these ruins are millions of years old, way older than human civilization. That can't be right, Ben said. Humans have only been in space for a few hundred years. Lisa moved to another section of wall. Her hands shook as she pointed to more symbols. These aren't just similar to human languages. They are human languages. Old versions of them, but definitely human. Alex found a room filled with stone tablets covered in writing. There are thousands of these things. It's like a huge library. Jake followed Lisa as she moved deeper into the ruins. In a large chamber at the center of the complex, they found something that made everyone stop and stare. It was a star map carved into the ceiling, showing the locations of different planets and the paths between them. And next to the map were symbols that clearly showed spaceships. The first ones had space travel, Lisa whispered. Millions of years ago, someone was flying between the stars. Katie checked her scanner again. Captain, I'm finding more human-like writing deeper in the complex, and there are signs that this place was used recently. Maybe a few thousand years ago. One of the alien scientists noticed their excitement. The beasts seemed to understand something about this place. How strange. Perhaps the first ones created many species of intelligent pets. But Lisa was reading the walls with growing amazement. The more she read, the more impossible it seemed. The writing told stories of great wars between the stars, of civilizations that rose and fell over millions of years. And throughout all of it, there were references to a species that sounded exactly like humans. "Jake," she said quietly, "I think humans have been in space before. A long, long time ago." The aliens were getting bored with watching the humans explore. They began to move toward the exit, expecting their pets to follow. But Jake made a decision that would change everything. "We're staying here tonight," he told Vexthara. "There's more to learn from this place." Vexthara looked surprised. It was the first time she had heard one of the humans make a clear decision rather than just following orders. "Very well," she said slowly. "We will camp here for one night, but do not touch anything important. These ruins are sacred." As the aliens set up their camp, Jake gathered his crew in the deepest part of the ruins where they could talk privately. "Lisa, what exactly are you finding in these writings?" Lisa's voice was barely a whisper. "Jake, I think we're looking at the history of an ancient human civilization, one that existed millions of years ago and somehow disappeared. And I think the aliens' religion is based on worshiping those ancient humans as gods." The implications were staggering. If Lisa was right, then humans were the primitive newcomers to the galaxy. They were the return of something much older and more important than anyone had imagined. Lisa worked through the night, using the light from Katie's scanner to read the ancient writings on the walls. The more she translated, the more excited and frightened she became. Jake stayed with her while the others slept, watching as she filled page after page with notes. "This is incredible, Jake," Lisa whispered, pointing to a section of carved symbols. "This wall tells the story of the Skywalkers, who came from a blue and green world. They brought knowledge to younger races and taught them about the stars." "Skywalkers?" Jake asked. "That's what they called themselves? But look at this description." Lisa showed Jake her translation. "They breathed the same air, walked on 2 legs, had 5 fingers on each hand, and came from the third world around a yellow star." "That's us, Jake. That's exactly us." Katie woke up and came over to see what they were doing. Her scanner had been running all night, recording everything. "Captain, I've been analyzing the technology described in these texts. The Skywalkers had ships powered by controlled explosions, just like our rockets. They used metal and electronics, not crystals like these aliens." Jake felt a chill run down his back. "Are you saying that humans were here millions of years ago?" "Not just here," Lisa said, turning to another wall. "Everywhere. According to this, the Skywalkers visited hundreds of worlds. They helped other species learn to use tools, grow food, and build cities. And then something terrible happened." Ben had woken up too and joined their quiet discussion. "What kind of terrible thing?" Lisa's voice was sad as she read from the wall. "A great war. The texts call it the time of burning stars. The Skywalkers fought against something called the Void Devourers. Most of the Skywalker worlds were destroyed. The survivors scattered to hidden places throughout the galaxy." "And what happened to the aliens' ancestors during this time?" Alex asked. She had been awake for a while, listening quietly. Lisa found another section of text. The young races, including the early ancestors of these crystal beings, were told to hide and wait. The Skywalkers promised they would return when the danger was over and the galaxy was safe again. Jake began to understand. So the aliens had been waiting for millions of years for the Skywalkers to come back. Yes, and they turned that waiting into a religion. They worshiped the Skywalkers as gods who will return to bring peace to the galaxy. Katie made an important discovery in her scans. "Captain, there are more recent writings here too." "Much more recent." like maybe a few thousand years old instead of millions. Lisa hurried to examine the newer texts. These were written in a different style, but she could still read parts of them. These are messages left by Skywalker survivors, small groups who came back to check on the younger races. The last message I can find is dated about 3,000 years ago. What does it say? Ben asked. Lisa translated slowly. We are few now, scattered across distant worlds. Our great ships are gone, our cities are dust. But we remember who we were, and someday our children's children will return to the stars. When they do, let the young races know that the Skywalkers never forgot their promise. The group sat in silence, thinking about what this meant. Finally, Jake spoke up. So we're not the first humans in space. We're the Skywalkers coming back. But the aliens don't recognize us, Alex pointed out. Millions of years have changed both species too much. Lisa was studying more of the ancient language. There's something else, Jake. The religious texts of these crystal beings aren't just stories about the Skywalkers. They contain actual Skywalker words and phrases. Sacred language that only their priests are supposed to know. What kind of words? Lisa showed Jake a section of text where Skywalker words were mixed with the alien language. Prayers, blessings, philosophical teachings. If I could learn to speak these words correctly, the aliens would have to listen to me. Katie was getting excited. Lisa, do you think you can figure out how to pronounce the ancient language? I've been working on it all night. The writing system shows pronunciation guides. It's difficult, but I think I can do it. Ben looked worried. What happens when you start speaking their holy language? Won't they think we're faking it somehow? Maybe, Lisa said. But maybe they'll finally understand that we really are the descendants of their gods. Jake had to make another difficult decision. They could try to escape from the aliens and return to Earth with their discovery. Or they could reveal the truth and hope it would change everything. What are the risks? He asked. Alex answered first. If we tried to escape, they might destroy our ship to keep us from getting away. We'd be stuck here forever. And if we tell them the truth? Lisa thought carefully before answering. Some of them might believe us and treat us with respect. But others might think we're lying and become angry. In their religion, it would be like animals pretending to be gods. Katie had another worry. What if they believe us too much? What if they want to worship us as gods? That could be just as bad as being treated like animals. Jake looked at each member of his crew. They were brave people who had volunteered to explore the unknown. But none of them had expected anything like this. Lisa, how long do you need to learn the pronunciation? Give me 2 more days. I want to make sure I get it right. If I'm going to quote their holy books to them, I can't make any mistakes. All right. Ben, Alex, can you two keep the aliens distracted while Lisa works? Sure, Captain, Ben said. I'll ask them lots of questions about their technology. Alex can pretend to be interested in their fighting techniques. What about me? Katie asked. Keep scanning everything. If this goes wrong, we'll need all the information we can get. For the next 2 days, Lisa worked harder than she had ever worked in her life. She memorized passages from the ancient texts, practiced pronunciation, and studied the religious meanings behind the words. The alien language was difficult because it used tones and sounds that human voices were not designed to make. But Lisa was determined to get it right. Meanwhile, Ben and Alex kept the aliens busy. Ben asked so many questions about crystal technology that the alien scientists enjoyed showing off their knowledge. Alex challenged some of the younger aliens to friendly contests of strength and skill. Katie quietly scanned every room in the ruins, building a complete record of everything the Skywalkers had left behind. On the 3rd day, Commander Vex Thara announced that they were leaving. We have learned what we can from this place. It is time to return to our home world with our new pets. Jake looked at Lisa. She nodded. indicating that she was ready. "Commander Vexthara," Jake said, "before we leave, we have something important to tell you." Vexthara looked amused. "The clever beast wants to speak? Very well. What sounds have you learned to make?" Jake stepped aside, and Lisa moved forward. She took a deep breath, knowing that the next few minutes would determine the fate of both species. "Honored ones," Lisa began, speaking in perfect ancient Skywalker language, "I bring greetings from the children of the Star Roads, the builders of metal ships, the keepers of the ancient promise." The effect was immediate and shocking. Every alien in the room stopped moving. Vexthara's eyes changed from blue to bright silver, a sign of extreme emotion in her species. That Lisa continued, reciting one of the most sacred prayers from their religion. Her pronunciation was perfect, her understanding of the meaning complete. The aliens began to whisper to each other in frightened, excited voices. Some fell to their knees. Others backed away in fear. Vexthara stared at Lisa with wide eyes. "How do you know the first tongue? How do you speak the words of the blessed ones?" Lisa smiled and continued speaking in the ancient language, telling the story of the Skywalker's return, just as it was written on the walls around them. The revolution had begun. The alien ship was in chaos. Word had spread quickly that one of the human beasts had spoken the first tongue, the sacred language that only the highest priests were supposed to know. Aliens rushed through the crystal hallways, talking and excited. Whispers about what this could mean. Commander Vexthara paced back and forth in front of the humans, her skin patterns shifting from silver to deep purple, showing her confusion and anger. "This is impossible," she said to her officers. "These creatures cannot know the blessed words. Someone has taught them to make the sounds without understanding the meaning." But High Priest Zalthis disagreed. He was an old alien with golden patterns on his skin and eyes that glowed with inner light. He had studied the ancient texts his entire life and knew them better than anyone else on the ship. "Commander," Zalthis said quietly, "the female creature did not just speak our holy words. She understood them. She used the proper tones for prayer, the correct grammar for sacred speech. This is not simple copying." Lisa stood calmly in the center of the argument, waiting for a chance to speak again. Jake and his crew stayed close to her, ready to protect her if the aliens became violent. "Speak again, creature," Vexthara demanded. "Show us more of these sounds you have learned." Lisa nodded and began to recite another passage from the ancient texts. This time she chose words that told the story of the Great War and the Skywalker's promise to return. She spoke about the blue and green world where the Skywalkers had gone to hide, and about their children who would someday come back to the star's dot. As Lisa spoke, more aliens gathered to listen. Some were frightened, others were amazed, and a few looked angry. High Priest Zalthis listened with growing excitement. "She speaks of the hidden world," he whispered, "the place where the Blessed Ones went to wait for the time of return. And she describes it exactly as it is written in our most secret texts." "Impossible," Vexthara repeated. "No creature could know such things unless she is what?" "She appears to be," Zalthis finished, "a descendant of the Skywalkers themselves." The argument that followed was loud and angry. Some aliens believed that the humans were the returning gods their religion had promised. Others thought it was all a trick, that some enemy had taught the humans sacred words to fool them. Captain Jake watched the debate with growing concern. His crew was caught in the middle of what looked like a religious war. "Commander," said one, "of the alien scientists, if these creatures truly are Skywalkers, then we have been treating gods like animals. The shame would be unbearable. And if they are not," another alien replied, "then they are blasphemers who deserve death for speaking sacred words with unclean mouths." Ben moved closer to Jake. "Captain, this is getting dangerous. Some of these aliens look ready to attack us." Before Jake could respond, Lisa spoke again. This time she used words that were even more sacred, a blessing that was supposed to be spoken only by the Skywalkers themselves when they returned to their people. May the light of distant stars guide your path home. Children of the crystal. Cities, may your hearts remember the lessons of the ancient days when all races walked together in peace. High Priest Zalthis fell to his knees. The blessing of return, he said in a shaking voice. Only the true Skywalkers know those words. It is written that when they speak this blessing, the time of waiting will be over. But Commander Vex Thara was not convinced. These creatures arrived in a primitive metal ship, not the great vessels of legend. They have no crystal technology, no mastery over light and energy. How can they be the mighty Skywalkers? Katie stepped forward. May I explain? Something about our technology? Vex Thara looked surprised. Another beast wants to speak. We may not use crystals like you do, Katie said, but our ships can travel between stars just like yours. We use different methods, but we achieve the same results. Ancient human texts from Earth mention both types of technology. Lisa translated Katie's words into the sacred language so that High Priest Zalthis could understand them completely. The priest nodded thoughtfully. It is written that the Skywalkers used many different kinds of technology, he said. Perhaps they chose simpler methods when they went into hiding to avoid being found by their enemies. Alex had been listening to the alien conversations, trying to figure out which ones might become violent. Captain, she whispered, about half of them want to worship us as gods, and the other half want to kill us as liars. Neither option sounds good. Jake knew he had to do something to calm the situation. He stepped forward and spoke in English, which Lisa translated into the sacred language. We are not gods, Jake said firmly. We are people, just like you. Our ancestors may have been the Skywalkers you remember, but we are their children, not divine beings. We make mistakes, we feel fear, and we die just like any living creatures. Lisa's translation caused another wave of discussion among the aliens. Some seemed relieved that the humans were not claiming to be gods. Others were disappointed. High Priest Zalthis stood up slowly. In our oldest texts it is written that when the Skywalkers return, they will be changed by their long exile. They will be humble instead of proud, wise instead of powerful. Perhaps these changes are what we see before us. Or perhaps, Vex Thara said coldly, these creatures are very clever animals who have somehow learned to mimic sacred sounds. I propose a test. Jake felt his stomach tighten. What kind of test? Zalthis looked worried. Commander, we should not test beings who might truly be the blessed ones. It could bring great punishment upon us. But Vex Thara was determined. If they are truly Skywalkers, they will know things that no other beings could possibly know. Things that are written only in our most secret texts, kept hidden from all but the highest priests. Lisa looked at Jake, then back at the aliens. What do you want me to tell you? Vex Thara smiled coldly. Tell us the true name of our homeworld. The name that only the Skywalkers knew, which is written in no books and spoken by no living voice. Lisa felt her heart sink. She had memorized many ancient texts, but she had not seen every secret document in the alien religion. If she could not answer this question correctly, it would prove to the aliens that humans were not the real Skywalkers. I don't know, Lisa said honestly. Vex Thara's smile grew wider. Of course you don't, because you are just a clever animal who has learned to copy sounds without understanding their meaning. But High Priest Zalthis held up his hand. Wait, Commander. Let me ask a different question, one that is written in the texts, but requires true understanding to answer correctly. He turned to Lisa and spoke in the sacred language. If you are truly of the Skywalker blood, tell me this. What was the greatest? gift they gave to the younger races, and why was it also their greatest sorrow? Lisa thought carefully about everything she had read in the ancient ruins. The answer came to her slowly, but she was confident it was correct. The greatest gift was knowledge, she said in the sacred tongue. The Skywalkers taught the younger races to think, to question, to grow beyond what they were. But this was also their greatest sorrow, because knowledge brought the ability to choose evil as well as good. Some of the races they helped chose to become destroyers instead of builders. Zalthis stared at her with wide eyes. That answer is correct, and it shows understanding, not just memory. The debate among the aliens grew even more intense. Jake watched nervously as the situation balanced on a knife's edge. Some aliens were beginning to believe that humans really were the descendants of their gods. Others remained convinced that it was all an elaborate deception. Then Vexthara made a decision that surprised everyone. "Very well," she said. "We will take these creatures to our homeworld. Let the High Council and the Supreme Priests decide what they truly are. If they are Skywalkers, they will be honored. If they are deceivers, they will be destroyed." Jake looked at his crew. They had no choice but to agree. Their fate would be decided by the alien leadership, and there was nothing they could do but hope that the truth would be enough to save them. The alien homeworld was the most beautiful place Jake had ever seen. Crystal cities rose from lakes of pure water, connected by bridges made of light itself. The sky was filled with floating gardens and ships that moved like dancing birds. Everything glowed with soft colors that changed as the day progressed, but Jake had little time to admire the beauty. The USS Meridian was surrounded by hundreds of alien ships as they approached the capital city. News of the humans who spoke the sacred language had spread across the planet, causing excitement and fear in equal measure. "Captain," Ben said quietly, "there are a lot of weapons pointed at us right now." Jake nodded. The aliens were taking no chances. If the humans turned out to be enemies, they would be destroyed before they could cause any damage. The High Council met in a great crystal hall at the center of the capital city. 12 of the most important aliens in their civilization sat in chairs that floated above the floor, their skin patterns glowing with the authority of their positions. At the center sat Supreme Priest Morthal, an ancient being whose golden skin was covered with the marks of centuries of wisdom. Commander Vexthara stood before the council with Jake and his crew. High Priest Zalthis was there too, along with dozens of other important aliens who wanted to witness this historic moment. "Bring forward the creatures who claim to speak the first tongue," Supreme Priest Morthal commanded. Lisa stepped forward, her heart beating fast, but her voice steady. She bowed respectfully and began to speak in the sacred language. "Honored leaders of the Crystal Cities, I am Lisa Harper, daughter of the Skywalker bloodline. I bring greetings from the distant world, where our ancestors went to hide during the time of burning stars. We have returned, as was promised long ago." The hall fell completely silent. Supreme Priest Morthal leaned forward, his ancient eyes studying Lisa carefully. "You speak our holy words with skill," he said slowly. "But words can be learned by anyone with enough time and effort. Prove to us that you are truly what you claim to be." Lisa had expected this challenge. She had spent the journey to the homeworld preparing for it. What proof would satisfy the wise council? "Tell us," said another council member, "about the forbidden knowledge, the secrets that the Skywalkers shared only with our most trusted ancestors."